Hey guys, Tyler with Samson. We're here in the Pro Shop today and we're going to talk a little bit about the Evolution rail system, installation, accessories, and features. Okay guys, we're going to talk about the Evolution rail system here. I have the Evo 12.37 here. The Evolution rail is not just a rail, it's an entire family of accessories and a line of products. The point of this rail is to get away from the heavy, bulky quad rail systems that add unnecessary weight and unnecessary costs that the end user, the shooter, doesn't need. Basically what we've incorporated here is these ventilation holes, these S-cut ventilation holes are not just ventilation holes, they're also functional mounting positions. So at 16 different positions around the rail, including the continuous top Picatinny rail, they are angles that these accessory rails and the other family of Evolution accessories can actually be mounted at. You'll notice that the inside of the rail here actually has a series of flutes or speed bumps, and that corresponds to a radius that's cut on the backer bars for the accessory rails, and that's how we mount them and achieve those 16 different mounting positions around the circumference of the rail. As with the rest of our products, it's aircraft grade 6061 T6 aluminum, type 3, mil-spec hardcoat anodized, and laser engraved. So if you guys are looking for an Evolution rail system, you can find these at samson-mfg.com, and when we come back, I'm going to show you how to mount up your thermal bushings and your Evolution rail system to your rifle. All right guys, we're back. We're going to show you how to get these thermal bushings onto the mil-spec barrel nut and then install your rail system. One of the things that you're going to want to be very careful of when you install these thermal bushings is that they're installed properly on the barrel nut. And what we mean by that is you'll notice when you pick up the thermal bushings that there is a complete hole and then there's a half hole on the bottom of the thermal bushing. These are directional and we want to keep the half holes towards the bottom of the rifle. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to find our op rod or our gas tube. We're going to take the complete hole and we're going to hook that on the first tooth that's not touching the gas tube or the op rod. We're going to repeat that procedure on the other side with the left-handed barrel nut, half holes to the bottom, complete hole to the top, and snap these into place. Now once they're snapped into place, you'll notice that the thermal bushing should not touch at the bottom of the rifle. That's important as well, because if they do touch, that means you probably have them on upside down. So you should see a small gap there. Once we have those on there, what we typically tell people to do is take the upper off the lower and seat the upper into the pocket of your stomach. I'm just going to take this rifle and put it on my leg here, and I'm going to take my dominant hand and I'm going to hold the rail this way, and I'm going to hold these thermal bushings like I'm holding the head of a baby. That's kind of what we tell people on the phone when they call, and the reason we want to do that is we want to be able to manipulate this little bit of play in the thermal bushings here, and that's going to help us align the thermal bushings to the flutes on the rail. So as we pass the rail over the top here, I'm going to bring it down to where it contacts the barrel of the thermal bushings, and I'm just going to wiggle this until I feel that the thermal bushings have seated themselves inside the rail, and I'm going to apply pressure and slide it to the rear. Now you'll notice from rail to rail there's a slight difference in the coatings, especially if you guys get your rail Cerakoted. You're going to notice some differences in the thickness of the coating that's applied. So if you go to install this rail and it goes on a little tight, don't be scared, there's nothing wrong with it. We even have some here in the shop that have to be tapped on with a plastic block or a rubber mallet, just gently, to get it to seat all the way against the upper receiver. All right, so once those are on here, we'll go over the tightening procedure. All right guys, we got the rail mounted up here and the thermal bushings on. We haven't tightened anything down yet. We wanted to cover real quick something that we get a lot of phone calls here at the office about, and we see a lot of chatter on ar15.com and other places about it. And that's the issue of the rail aligning properly with the upper receiver. We've heard things like put the rifle upside down so that you're holding the rail and the upper receiver together on the same plane. That's a good suggestion, but it's probably not going to help the issue if you guys are getting a little bit of upward cant in your rail. The reason is because as you tighten, especially with the longer rails, as you tighten this in the rear, it's natural for the front end to want to pick up. I'm told by our engineering department it's a very complex mathematical formula that we won't bore you with here. But with that being said, the way that you can fix this is by, this is obviously a shorter barrel, but if you had a longer barrel that's coming out of the end here, you want to try to hook your finger underneath the barrel and apply downward pressure with your thumb to the barrel as you start tightening your Evolution rail. And what that's going to do is it's putting a downward deflection in the rail, and then as we start to tighten, we're going to feel the rail want to pick up against our thumb, and we're going to continue applying gentle pressure as we tighten this down. Now, as I start to feel the front one get snug, I'm just going to move to the back. Start tightening the back one. I'm still applying pressure. All right, now I feel this one get snug. I'm going to keep applying that pressure here, and I'm just going to go through and snug these down. Now, a lot of people ask us about the torque spec for the Evolution rail. There isn't a torque spec for it. The reason is because the aluminum is soft enough and designed to bend around the thermal bushings and around the barrel nut. What we're actually going for is getting the two clamp ears at the bottom of the rail to touch each other. Once you've done that, you've applied enough circumferential pressure to keep this rail from sliding forward, and you've not over tightened. Once you've done those two tightening screws, the last step in the process is to go ahead and tighten down the set screw on the bottom of your rail. Now, some of you guys that have Evolution rails that are a little bit older, this was an addition at the beginning of 2013. So if you find that for some reason you are having troubles, the reason we added this, 50 Beowulf, people running different calibers, custom builds, there was some reports with bipods and vertical grips, things like that, rail sliding forward. We haven't been able to reproduce them here in the shop, but just as a measure of customer service and to make everybody feel better, we put this vertical set screw in the bottom here. You just want to go ahead and snug that down, just hand tight. And once you finish that, you're just going to go ahead and check the alignment of the rail against the upper receiver, and you can kind of shoot a little beam with your eye, if you will, down that rail to make sure that it looks good. And you can also take a straight edge and lay it against your upper receiver and rail to make sure that you don't have any deflection in the rail. Once you've done that, your Evolution rail is mounted properly and it's secured correctly with the right amount of torque to the screws. Guys, thanks for watching. I'm Tyler with Samson again. I want to tell you guys to stay tuned. We're going to be doing a lot of videos the entire year 2014. Andrew's been talking about it in his videos as well. If there's something you guys want to see, product video, training video, stuff from competition, SHOT Show, let us know. You can find us on Facebook, Twitter, YouTube, Instagram. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and we'll put the links to all this stuff for you guys in the bottom of the video. Thank you.